It is Friday, December 16th, 2016. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Let's Talk Sports on the Radio Vision Network, our final show of the year. Got a great show planned lined up for you today, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We'll recap Week 14 of the NFL, plus we will preview Week 15, plus last night's game between the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. But first, if you enjoyed watching the NBA, and if you watched a broadcaster that has been on the sideline for a long time. But first, I do have sad news to pass along. We're going to do it now, and then we will move on to recap Week 14, and then we'll preview Week 15 of the NFL. We all remember Craig Sager. He has been on Turner Sports for a long time. But Craig Sager passed away yesterday. He's been battling with leukemia. He's been a fantastic broadcaster for a very long time. He has joined a lot of broadcasters on CBS, TNT, True TV. He's done March Madness. But he missed a lot of the 2014 NBA playoffs, and he missed part of the regular season. But our thoughts and prayers go out to his family. He has been a very fantastic broadcaster and a sideline reporter. He worked with so many, including Kevin Harlan, and of course, Chris Webber, and many others. He has been fantastic at the age of 65. Of course, he leaves behind his wife, Stacy, who has been a cheerleader for the Chicago Bulls, and he had 5 children. Again, Craig passes at the age of 65, and he will be sorely missed by his friends, family, and his colleagues. Now let's recap Week 14 of the National Football League. If you enjoyed a lot of football, you really did. Because we had down-to-the-wire games, we had one game in overtime, and Jeff Fisher was fired by the LA Rams head coach. We'll get to that in a moment, but first let's talk about the Eagles. What happened, Philadelphia? You had a chance to come from behind, winning the game. They were up 22-21 with 2 minutes to go in the contest, and they couldn't pull it off. They ended up losing 27-22 to the Washington Redskins. The Eagles will take on the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Skins will have a Monday night game, and they will take on the Carolina Panthers. Other matchups, the Minnesota Vikings went into Jacksonville to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville has really had a hard time in 2016. Ended up losing to Minnesota 25-16. Of course, Matt was down, but the challenge was not successful. It could have been a touchdown, but the call stood on the field. Minnesota wins 25-16. Minnesota will play against Indianapolis. Meanwhile, Jacksonville will be at Houston taking on the Texans. Speaking of the Houston Texans, they swept the Indianapolis Colts 22-17 at Lucas Oil Stadium. The first time Indianapolis got swept by the Houston Texans. Other matchups, the Denver Broncos took on the Tennessee Titans in Nashville. Last time they met was in Denver in the cold. Denver won 51-28. 3 years later, they did not win in Nashville. Tennessee had a 13-0 lead, but Denver tried to rally, could not do it. They ended up losing 13-10. And Tennessee has got a lot of work to do. Meanwhile, Denver will have a big opportunity later on in the season. They will take on the New England Patriots in a rematch of the AFC Championship game. And as for the Tennessee Titans, they have played very well in 2016. They will have a lot of fun. Other matchups in Miami. Carson Palmer and the Cardinals went into Miami to take on Ryan Tannehill and the Miami Dolphins. Last time these two teams met, overtime. 4 years later, they meet at Hard Rock Stadium. Miami wins it 26-23 on a game-winning field goal with just seconds left. Miami called a timeout, or the game would have gone into overtime. But Miami wins 26-23. Miami will have a big opportunity. They will take on the New York Jets tomorrow night. Arizona has a game against the New Orleans Saints. These two teams met last year, week 1 of the season. In Charlotte, Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers took on Phillip Rivers and the Chargers in Charlotte. It was all Carolina at the start, but San Diego rallied. But Cam Newton was trying to get to the goal line, but he was ruled short. Juan Rivera challenged because he thought it was a touchdown, but it was not. Cam Newton was down by contact at the 1. Not a good challenge. Carolina goes on to win 28-16 in Charlotte. San Diego will go and play their next game as they will take on the Oakland Raiders in San Diego. Of course, last time these two teams met, Oakland and San Diego, Oakland won 34-31 in Week 5. It's the Battle of Ohio in Cleveland. We got games in the snow as last week. We'll get to the Steelers and the Bills in a moment, but first, what's gone into the Cleveland Browns? They have come off a bye and they lost again. They could not come away with the win. Cincinnati had a 23-0 lead, and then Cleveland came from behind, but just could not do it. They couldn't rally. They ended up losing 23-10 in Cleveland. The Browns will have to work very hard to get their first win. They will take on the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. Meanwhile, Cincinnati has a game with the Steelers on Sunday afternoon. We'll talk about the two game time changes later on. And speaking of the Pittsburgh Steelers, they went into Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Ben Roethlisberger has been given the ball to Le'Veon Bell. He has been good with the running game. He's done a splendid job. Pittsburgh wins 27-20 in Orchard Park. Other matchups. The Chicago Bears went into Detroit to take on the Detroit Lions. It was a fantastic matchup. A good NFC North showdown. Last time these two teams met, Chicago won. What would happen? Detroit would come back and lead 20-17. Then Matt Barkley, the former Philadelphia Eagle, was driving down the field, trying to get into field goal range, but two penalties cost the Chicago Bears. Two of them were called for holding, and the Bears just could not get the game to force into OT. They went on to lose 20-17 in Detroit. In Santa Clara, rookie quarterback Bryce Petty and the Jets took on Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. San Francisco was off to a good start. Bryce Petty threw an interception and then two touchdowns. The New York Jets were down 14-0. Then, after a 17-6 lead, the Jets would storm back with 5 minutes remaining and cut the lead to 3, 17-14. Then to force overtime, a field goal was made. Nice job by the Jets. They came back down 17-6 and rallied tied up at 17. In overtime, the Jets would get a running game going. In the end zone, touchdown Jets. But an offside penalty was against the 49ers. Declined. Touchdown Jets. They went on to win 23-17. The 49ers will go into Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Meanwhile, the Jets will have a game tomorrow night against the Miami Dolphins. Now let's recap the three late games starting at Lambeau Field as Aaron Rodgers and the Packers took on the Seahawks in Seattle. Actually at Lambeau, they played in Seattle. It has been a fantastic moment. Green Bay was off to a good start, leading 7-0. Then it was 7-3. Green Bay came storming into Lambeau Field in the frozen tundra, and they went on to win 38-10. Should be a fantastic matchup when Seattle plays their next game. Other matchups. Drew Brees and the Saints took on Jameis Winston and the Bucs in Tampa. Tampa Bay had a fantastic moment. It was 13-8 when Drew Brees was trying to throw the pass, but wait, ball hit the ground, didn't maintain possession. We all know what a catch, what's not a catch. You have to maintain possession of the ball while you're going to the ground. In that case, it didn't happen. It was 13-11. Then Tampa Bay went on to kick a field goal. Tampa Bay wins 16-11. These two teams will meet next Saturday afternoon. In Los Angeles, it was all Falcons. What happened, Los Angeles? Or Atlanta. Jared Goff was terrible. He got picked off. He fumbled so many times. And then the kickoff to begin the game, it was a turnover for Los Angeles. And Atlanta storms into the Coliseum, to beat Los Angeles 42-14. That game was at the LA Coliseum in Los Angeles. At MetLife Stadium, the Dallas Cowboys took on the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium. It was a fantastic matchup. Back and forth of turnovers they went. It was Dak Prescott. He threw the ball to his wide open receiver. Dallas led 7-0. But Dak Prescott fumbled, but recovered by David Free, and he took it to get the Dallas into field goal range. But Ben McAdoo challenged because he thought Free was down by contact, but after review of the play, Free was down by contact. So no field goal for the Cowboys. They were forced to punt. Then it was 7-3. Dallas wanted to make it a one-touchdown game. But the ball hit the crossbar as David Bailey hit a 55-yard field goal that hit the crossbar, and we remained 7-3. Then the G-Men came back in the third quarter. Who did Eli Manning throw to? Odell Beckham Jr. Touchdown G-Men, but 2 minutes remaining. Dallas has one last chance. Fourth down. Who is he going to throw? Maybe Dez Bryant? But the ball looked like it hit the ground. It was, after review, it was a turnover on downs. Turnover Dallas. The G-Men snapped Dallas's 11-game winning streak, 10-7. Dallas will have a Sunday night game against Tampa Bay. Meanwhile, the G-Men will take on the Detroit Lions. Should be fun on the Sunday. Monday Night Football featured Tom Brady and the Pats taking on Joe Flacco and the Ravens. It was a fantastic first quarter. First quarter, Baltimore was up, but Bill Belichick wanted to challenge. But you can't challenge forward progress. Forward progress is a non-reviewable play. So no timeout, no challenge by the Patriots. It was a back-and-forth game. New England had a 23-0 lead, but Baltimore tried to rally. New England turned the ball over a couple times, and it did not work out for Baltimore. They went on to lose and fell short. But Justin Tucker kicked a field goal, made it a one-possession game, but it did not happen as the Patriots went home to take on the Ravens and win 30-23. New England will be on the road at Denver. Meanwhile, Baltimore will be home against Philadelphia, the Battle of the Birds. Now let's go into Week 15. Let's recap a night game that everybody saw on Thursday night. It was the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, last time these two teams met, these two did not score touchdowns. They only managed to kick field goals in Los Angeles. LA won 9-3. How would Seattle respond? Of course, Russell Wilson did a splendid job. But there were two questionable spots that Pete Carroll had to challenge. He won 2 of them. The third one was not a successful challenge. But Seattle has won. They had done a splendid job. But LA did not even manage to get into the end zone. They didn't even score a touchdown. But here's the case. Russell Wilson was looking for Luke Wilson. But was it intercepted by Los Angeles? No, it was not. Interim head coach John Fossil challenged, thinking he thought it was an interception, but the play stood and Seattle would get lucky. Then in the fourth quarter, 5 minutes remaining in the game, John Ryan, the punter, was down after he fumbled a recovery by Seattle. But before that, John Fossil challenged because he thought Los Angeles had the ball. But after review, the play stood on the field because there was not a fumble and not a clear recovery. LA will go on to lose 24-3. They got a date with the San Francisco 49ers on Christmas Eve. Meanwhile, Seattle will have a preparement against the Arizona Cardinals. Football Sunday, but before we get to that, we got a Saturday game. The Dolphins and the Jets. Last time these two teams met, it was at Sun Life Stadium, or you could call it Hard Rock Stadium. The Jets went on to lose a tough one, 27-23, Week 9 of the National Football League. They went back to November 6th. This time they meet at MetLife, but the forecast isn't going to be the greatest. Of course, the forecast is calling for a wintry precipitation mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain. But the weather should be out of there by Saturday night. The Jets go into MetLife to take on the Dolphins. And I'm going to say the Jets will cut back on track to win. They've won at San Francisco, Miami, played not too bad against the Arizona Cardinals, so I'm going to take the New York Jets. Hopefully they'll get out of this funk and not lose another game. Now let's talk about the Battle of the Birds. The Birds of Philadelphia were on the road taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Philadelphia has lost 4 consecutive games, including a tough one to the Redskins. They should have won that game, and Carson Wentz should not have fumbled. Here are my keys for the Eagles game at Baltimore. No turnovers. Carson Wentz has got to be careful. He has to not get sacked and not throw the ball into the wrong color jersey. Don't throw it to Wade Lewis. Don't throw it to anyone. Throw it to your correct receivers. You got Jordy Matthews. You got Dorial Green-Beckham, and you've got a lot of receivers to throw, including tight end Brent Selleck. I'm going to take the Eagles. They are going to break this 4-game losing streak at Baltimore. They will win this game, go to 6-8. Eagles must win this game if they want to stay alive in the playoff hunt, which will not happen. Other matchups we're going to have to keep an eye on is the Detroit Lions as they take on Eli Manning and the G-Men. These two teams, well, they met a couple times. They met in 2014, where the Lions won in overtime. The G-Men are trying to break that losing streak. Of course, that tough loss at Pittsburgh, the win against Dallas was good. They're looking for their 2nd consecutive win. We might see a Dallas Cowboy, New York Giant rivalry. But it's a battle of the blue. Giants, Lions should be fun. Other matchups consider Aaron Rodgers and the Packers as they take on the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Last time they met was at Lambeau Field back in October, and Green Bay won in Green Bay. But this time they meet in Chicago. Last time they met was Week 1. Green Bay won in Chicago Week 1 of the 2015 season. Should be a lot of fun matchups. Hopefully we'll see some touchdowns. Other matchups feature the New Orleans Saints and the Cardinals. Others will get San Francisco and the Falcons. There are 2 changes to the schedule. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. If you're looking to watch that game on NBC, you're not going to get it. It's going to be on CBS. And if you folks are looking for the Tampa Bay-Dallas game on Fox, it's on NBC. The other matchups will include Pittsburgh at Cincinnati or other football coverage, including Indianapolis at Minnesota, Tennessee at Kansas City, Cleveland at Buffalo. Jacksonville will be in Houston to take on the Texans. The 2 late games feature New England at Denver, the Raiders and the Chargers, Tampa Bay at Dallas, the Monday night game, Carolina at Washington, and then you got your football on Christmas Eve. You got the football Thursday night between the G-Men and the Eagles. Should be a lot of fun heading into the holiday season. And that is it for today, our final show. We will be back on the air January 6th. We will be on. We'll do a lot of fun. We'll recap, preview the wild card, recap Week 17. Should be a lot of fun. Happy holidays wherever you may be. I am your host, Stefan Ukransky. Thanks for joining us on the Radio Vision Network, and Let's Talk Sports. We'll see you January 6th, a new year. Enjoy your holiday season.
High-achieving students. Internationally renowned faculty. And award-winning alumni. A 226-year history of excellence and a beautiful